This is a disclaimer. This podcast features 4 professional idiots who share their insights and anecdotes. This podcast is intended for entertainment purposes only. This podcast represents the opinions of the guests and should not be taken as medical, legal, or professional advice.
All right.
What about now?
Now I hear you. What's up, dude?
Is this shit mic that I have? Is it actually? Is it worse than the other one?
Actually, you sound pretty good to me right now.
Oh,
You sound so good.
I need to buy a fancy ass mic.
I got what did I get? I have the
Is it the Yeti or something? I think it's called.
it's basically the Yeti, but it's an off-brand Yeti. It's called F-I-F-I-N-E. Fifine.
For a G-Lit.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what that says.
Man, we were so we were listening to the episode, and then I got some of my coworkers to start listening to some of the other ones. Which one did they lose? Oh, dude, they lost their shit on the first episode where you guys are talking about things that
Things I learned too late.
things you learn too late, and we pause it during the pizza fucking one, and I shit you not, fucking 3 of these other doctors are wait, you're not supposed to put the fucking cardboard in there with it? No,
Okay, I'm not alone. All right, that makes me feel so much better.
How many fucking doctors does it take
to not burn down your house?
Yeah.
I never had a problem with it. That's the crazy thing. The pizzas never caught on fire. I never had a problem. It was never an issue. So, that's right. I have to invite Patrick because his silly self exited it permanently. How do I invite?
Oh my god.
Okay, I'm a moron. How do I invite? This makes me so much better that other doctors are like, wait, that's a thing? Okay, good. It wasn't just me.
No. You create an invite. So right at the general, you see how there's the little buddy.
There it is. Create. I was looking for that exact button, and I did not see it.
Man, this is you guys are such boomers with Discord.
I don't know why. I just feel like it's not intuitive at all. I feel like I've looked for the little.
The most intuitive thing for gaming people.
There he is. Patrushka.
Daniel.
What's
I
up,
was
man?
listening to the news. It's 60 days since that shit started.
Nothing.
Since what shit started?
Ukraine.
Oh, yeah. It's funny, too, because that episode came out two weeks ago, and we recorded it when that started. Yeah. This is why I was like, okay, guys, we've lost our cushion. We need to record episodes now. And I'm going to cap season 1 at 10 episodes. Technically do a hiatus, which is just going to be us recording more episodes to release a season 2 to get more cushion back.
You have a YouTube. Have you guys made a Instagram also? Insta?
I haven't, but I'm not good. I've never made an Instagram, but I can do
What?
that.
This is where you just.
Oh, that's not true. That's not true. I did make one years ago. I just never use it. I know that Facebook is for old people, and Instagram is what the new hotness, or I guess TikTok's technically is TikTok a social media platform, or is it just content?
Oh, dude, it's such a. I feel like it is such a big thing. Man, my 5-year-old. So back in July when I was in that neonatal ICU, I'd never been on TikTok, never watched a single one. All the nurses fucking called me out, calling me a boomer. Man, my 5-year-old niece. My 5-year-old niece has her own phone, and she called me a boomer also.
What
But she
the
wouldn't
hell?
talk to me if I didn't watch the TikTok she sent.
Oh my god. I do feel old sometimes.
I had a MySpace page.
That takes me back.
Did you befriend Tom? Was he in your top 5?
Tom was my first friend. I never got rid of Tom.
Oh my god, I remember I watched Iron Man, the original, recently. I mean, within the past few months. And he's like, don't post that on MySpace. And I was like, oh my god, I forgot how old this movie is. Because it came out in 07 or 08. And it's that was the dawn of social media.
It was. MySpace was the first place to do stuff.
You're
It was
saying
really
MySpace
clunky.
was the dawn? Or that Iron Man was the dawn of?
Oh, the dawn of the MCU, maybe. But no, of social media platforms getting popular. Because didn't MySpace, you could like have music playing, and you could have like, you could rank your friends of like, this is my top 5. Compete. Go. Breakdance battle for my top 5.
Yeah, I know. I had you had your own like profile song that you could put on it.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, mine was up until they shut the whole thing down. Was "Love You Madly" by Cake. So
See, I feel like I was definitely still more in the scene emo kid phase. I definitely had like an AFI song or some shit.
Oh, I was good. I was expecting.
and as if I know what AFI is. Or
It's-
Wait,
they
you're
are.
gonna say you're expecting like Rammstein? Like, damn,
No,
that's
I thought you were gonna do. Oh my God, Fall Out Boy or something. But I guess you're not. That was more mainstream emo.
Fall Out Boy wasn't even emo, man. Like that was like,
Fall Out Boy wasn't around when MySpace was a thing, were they? I mean, really?
oh yeah.
I'm sure they were. I feel like they were because that was high school days.
Oh God, that was 04.
Welcome back to Overqualified Idiots. If it's your first time tuning in, this is the show where typically a doctor, lawyer, pharmacist, and engineer come together to share stories and talk about a given topic. Today, we have a repeat. We have a special guest joining us again in a row. This is the second week in a row. I don't think we've done anything else since then. Dr. Ben.
Dr. Yo, what's up?
Oh, you told me not to say your last name last time.
Oh wait,
so-
shit.
Should I just bleep it?
Yeah.
Oh. So, resident in MedPeds, currently wrapping up intern year. Congrats to you, dude. I mean, it's what, another month and no, 2 months. It's April. But
Yeah.
almost there. Joining us also today is our retail pharmacist, PJ. PJ, say hi.
Hello. Hi. Hello.
And as our resident lawyer, joining us, Pat Casey, JD.
Hello, how are you?
Are you talking to me or the listeners?
Like,
That's just a general question. How's everybody doing? You all good?
I'm do good and
Good.
And I am Dan Casey, MD, and Dr. Ben is a DO, just for clarification. So, small talk, yeah. I guess if that's directed at me, Pat, I'll go at it. I'm doing great. We just bought a car, so I really hate car salesmen as
a
people.
minivan?
It was SUV, just a pretty bulky SUV.
Which one?
The Palisade. It's actually pretty well reviewed,
Yeah.
but more than anything, it was damned affordable.
I know which one that is. It's a Hyundai, right?
A Hyundai.
Yeah, or however you pronounce it.
I'm just.
I don't need to offend anyone, but yeah.
Hyundai.
Or the
But
negotiating
it's-
pants.
But the point is, like, I cannot understand how what people do in car dealerships is even legal. And my understanding is that, like, the factories, because there's such a car shortage right now, and the car, with the ongoing war between supplies, I think Russia's like the third biggest provider of nickel. So, like, batteries aren't getting made, so electric cars aren't even a thing. So all of this, like, shortage, the dealerships are getting sued by the factories because they keep trying to market over MSRP because of the shortage. And the factories are like, no, you can't do that. So yeah, this guy, we sign on a dotted line, we're paying this much, and then he brings back another paper with an extra, like, $1,500 added onto the price tag, and he's like, oh yeah, my manager said no. And I'm like, dude, we shook hands. We signed a paper. You can't just bait and switch us.
No take backsies.
Yeah, exactly. That's how it feels. Like, you said this. You said we shook hands. You have our
moment
business.
that you should have walked out the door.
Oh, we did. We went to a different dealership and got the almost exact same deal for the same car without having to. We did it in like an hour and 15 minutes as opposed to the amount of time we were at the first one.
Without
did.
The screw job.
Oh,
Yeah.
Nicole was pissed.
I was gonna ask who wore the negotiating pants.
Honestly, me, which was kind of weird because Nicole's normally the feisty one when it comes to deals and money. but I think I just had no patience for like the situation. Like it was hot. We'd been to 4 different dealerships just comparing different cars. I was tired and hungry, and I had no patience for these people. So yeah, it's nice to have a car and have that done and behind. But it just reminds me of Pat's comment of like life troubles and tasks and chores never go away. So that's my small talk.
Yeah, and my van came in this morning or yesterday morning.
What was that, PJ?
Oh, I was saying my van came in yesterday morning too. The one we were talking about.
Oh, cool. Yeah, so
that's
new cars all around. Are you still using your house like a Airbnb that you sometimes don't rent out so you can use the pool?
Yeah, pretty much. Except in the summer, I don't think there's a whole lot of takers. Just 'cause it's kind of hot right now, and I think people are like, we're not going to go to Phoenix, which makes sense.
Oh yeah, no, I think people are fleeing at this point. All my snowbirds are leaving me, and my patient panel is like my volume's going down, which I'm not stoked about. But it'd also be nice not to work twice as hard as I do. But yeah, Pat, what's new with you?
Not much. Just jury trial week, lots of extra work, that kind of thing.
You always seem super busy during jury trial weeks. What? I guess this was actually better, more for last week's topic, but like, what happens? Are you just in trial all day?
Well, I mean, for 3 days this week, it'll just be that trial and nothing else, and I still have to address things after hours or at lunchtime to answer people's questions on other cases. So that's one thing. And then, 3 days times 2 is typically how much time you need to prep it. So like 6-8 hour days. And obviously you don't have that, like just hanging out, like, oh, I can just block my calendar for this week. And no. So that's why there's so much extra work. What's that?
You don't got a time turner?
No, I Harry Potter reference. Yes. No time turners. Hermione's got it. I don't know. She won't give it to me. So anyways, what I was going to say though is there are people that are worse than criminal defense attorneys, and that is used car salesmen. And that's all I have to say about
that. Zing. That's good. I like that. Ben, what's new with you, man?
Nothing. Still working at the VA. We had a long shift. Sundays are interesting at the VA because randomly I was walking in the stairwell and there was just gospel music playing and like a sermon was going on. Very weird.
In the stairwell? Wait, hold on. Back up.
Like, no, like it's not like there was a community and there was like a choir just like in the stairwell presenting like the sermon today, but it was just like playing over the speakers.
Oh, that makes more sense.
South is weird, man.
Yeah, I get that. I don't know why the idea of seeing a gospel choir just lining a stairwell singing is amusing to me. But yeah, so today's topic, small talk over. Today's topic is going to be kind of a throwback. It's, the first episode was things I learned too late. Now I wanted to flip on it because I think everybody's kind of had that moment of like, damn, I wish I could redo that part of my life. I wish I could go back and tell myself this. So, today's topic is things I wish I knew sooner, or things I wish I could go back and tell my younger self. What stories do you guys have? If it's from college, from, grad school, from training, even from early days of your work, only Patrick. Well, actually, PJ, God, you've been a pharmacist since I'm 22, so you've been practicing for what, 9 years now?
Yeah. Graduated in 14, so yeah, almost 9 years now.
Good Lord, man. Well, that being said, I guess for me and Ben, we don't have any too much work stories to tell ourselves, but I want somebody to kick it off.
Okay.
All right, Pat, go.
When I was first starting out as an attorney, I did a lot of public defender work, right? So in particular, I had one client that I can remember very specifically who was, for lack of a better term, like a horrible human being. Absolutely one of the worst.
I think they have terms for that, but yeah.
I refer to him by all 3 of his names. He's that bad of a person. Let's just put it that way.
Oh, God. Okay.
I had at one point 11 different files with him going.
Wait, 11 files. Can you explain what that means? Is that 11 different
I mean,
cases?
different criminal charges.
Oh, God.
And I ended up trying one of those cases and, in fact, winning. But one thing I learned from that experience, which I had learned much earlier, was it's jurors. I mean, you have no idea what they're going to do with a case. Client was obviously guilty from my perspective, but I convinced them otherwise. So there it is. I wish I had learned not to care more about my clients' cases than my clients do. And that was always has been a problem for a very, very long time for me, is to devote way too much time to something that that my clients are not, meeting me halfway on, whether it was public defense or even private practice. Some people just absolutely don't respond to emails or phone calls when you're like, hey, it's time that we talked or we went over something. And, in that particular instance, I could never find the guy, I could never get in contact with him. So I prepared my case basically on my own without my client's
Without your client.
without my client's assistance in his defense. I mean,
Oh, what a helpful person.
yeah, I know. He was just,
Well, I mean, if you have 11 files on him, I think it paints a pretty clear picture.
yeah.
So
He
I
was
like that.
one of my favorites.
I like that you said, jurors. You never know what they're gonna do. I remember Dad used to have this expression: "Is like, God forbid you're ever in a plaintiff or a defendant rather in a jury trial, because then your fate is getting decided by 12 people too dumb to get out of jury duty."
He's not wrong.
It's funny too. As a doctor, I don't know if all professions have this. It is so easy for me to get out of jury duty. I've done it 3 times, and I've told like the cheat sheets is like, oh yeah, my brother is a lawyer, and they're like, nope, get him the hell off of this. Nope, if the prosecutor doesn't, then the defense attorney sure as hell is going to try to get me off. One of the parties does. Gets me off the jury. That is so.
I always got out by just listing my home address still back in Arizona, saying, well, if you want to pay for my flight ticket back, you can.
Ah, there you go. Is your permanent address listed as in Arizona?
No, man, that was the most depressing. Okay, like there's so many other depressing things about residency, but having to change my address and my license finally, that was the most aggravating thing, because
Absolutely.
now, like, I don't have a license until I'm like 65 years old, and I got to change it every 5 years.
Yep.
For those that don't remember or don't know, Arizona, you get the damn license until you're in your 60s or 70s.
Yeah, that's right. I forget that other states don't do that. I remember going to Vegas once, and I don't know if it was like a new bouncer or maybe it was a bartender. I don't remember. I just remember the person going like, "This is a fake ID." What? Yeah, it says you don't need to renew it till 2055. Yeah, that's normal. No, it's not. I mean, it's real. That's what Arizona does. I can Google it for you. Like, he didn't believe me, so we literally like pulled out our smartphones, looked it up, and he was like, "Oh, what the hell? Arizona doesn't renew licenses for 50 years?" Oh my god, it is so convenient. I did not know. I didn't know until I was like 18 or 19 that like other states didn't do that.
I had my Arizona license still right up until I took the bar, right before I took the bar exam in 2003. So I got it issued to me in 1995 and carried that thing around until 2003 because I didn't have to renew it. And I was never a permanent resident of Wisconsin. I was never a permanent resident of California when I was going to school. So yeah, that was a valuable thing. And they don't. I got to do it every 2 years here in Minnesota, which is
what a pain in the ass.
it's expensive and dumb. It's just a money grab. It's government grabbing money. That's all.
That sounds par for the course.
Yeah. Anyways,
what about Ben? What about you? Any stories you got? Anything you wish you knew sooner?
I think one that will like maybe potentially hit home for people, I guess, that are pursuing any kind of graduate degree or just like you and I in general with like the MD versus the whole DO debate. I mean,
right.
I think like in undergrad, like I sometimes I bit off more than I could chew. Like I remember my junior year, I was working 2 different jobs. I did like a 30 unit and a 32 unit semester because I got
Jesus.
taught. Yeah, it somehow easily like I can buy into like people telling me to do things. So I added German as my other degree at that time. So I had to like catch up. But the biggest thing I remember is like I remember going to this like AMSA, I think they used to be called, like a medical meeting, like sophomore year or something. I
Oh
remember just like
yeah.
one of the doctors that came to visit was like, of course, he's like an orthopedic or a neurosurgeon. No offense to them, but he was just like harping like medicine is everything. Like if you really want to do this, you need to push it. You need to like solely focus on this. You need to do extracurriculars. Just listing all the like stereotypical things that you would find online. And like
Hmm.
while I think there's like cookie cutter things you need to do to get into like graduate programs at times, whether it's like service hours or taking certain exams or classes and things,
For sure.
I think like it's important to have a good balance. And I think like understanding the importance of like what you're driven to do, whether that be a profession or something else. But I think I oftentimes put too much effort into pursuing this passion. And I still like what I do, but essentially like I took a break during med school and I wasn't sure if I wanted to go back. And I had a good friend that was working at FSU doing some shark research. And that, bar none, was probably the best experience of my life, getting away from medicine and I don't know, just like realizing that there's life outside of medicine. There's life
Be,
outside of your pursuit and passion.
being
And
able to breathe and find like a respite in something else.
yeah. And I think like that's probably the thing that I wish I would have realized a lot earlier is that if you're driven to do something, whether that be go be a lawyer, go be pharmacist, engineer, whatever, I think you'll get there as long as you do the necessary things. But I don't think you need to let it control your life and consume you because I was probably I don't know, I was very, very depressed and had high anxiety throughout most of my graduate school, in my master's, and in med school. And I'm very open about it, but I think I just allowed these professions at times to control me. And now that I've created healthy, strong barriers, things are just more manageable, I think.
Yeah, and to backpack off that a bit, because I feel like everybody in medicine, maybe not everybody, because obviously that neurosurgeon or whoever you were talking about never learned that there is a life outside of medicine. I mean, yeah, we have to throw ourselves into what we do to get where we're at, but I do wish I could go back and tell myself, like, hey, this extracurricular and this thing, it doesn't matter. You know, it's hard to kind of purse out what I could have gotten rid of and still gotten into med school right away. But I really wish I didn't have to invest so much time and effort into things. I wish I just could go back to 18-year-old me and tell me, hey, in about 7 years, your dream is going to change. You're not going to be a surgeon because you're going to hate it. And you're going to shift to primary care sports medicine. And you're going to enjoy that. I wish I could do that because then I wouldn't have given so much of a crap about surgery stuff and done surgery club and done all of these surgery labs and done all of this shadowing and done everything under the sun. Like you said, check boxes and check boxes and check boxes. I like don't care anymore. I wish I had that time back. That's all I wish, because I think I learned, and maybe this is just me talking, I did not realize how much free time I had until it was gone. When we started like med school, 3rd and 4th year rotations, it just felt like it was like going up a ladder. Everything just kept getting harder and more demanding. So 3rd and 4th year rotations, residency, you know, until you finish residency, the job is when, oh wow, life actually gets a lot better and there is more work-life balance. So that sort of knowledge I wish I had. As far as like sort of a funny take on it, I just wish I like had the balls to tell off the surgeons. I wish I had the absolute gall to tell them the things I actually thought about them. Like that little chode of a man that I had to deal with for 2 weeks in trauma surgery. I had one time thought that he said something to the effect of, he's like, "All right, lower the table. You get to hunch. This is for me." I was like, "Dude, you better not say any more shit or I'm gonna hide all your stuff on the top of your shelves of your house." I wish I could like say shit like that, or had gone back and done it.
I think that goes along well with. I just wish that I could tell myself not to care what people think about me. And unfortunately, you know,
We do.
when you're competing, as an attorney in a smaller market, you have to have some cognition of what people think about you and have self-awareness and not be a total jerk. But I don't know. It took until I was about 36 till I figured out that I know what I'm doing. I know how I'm going to do it. I've known how to do this for longer than I want to recognize, and I'm going to do it my way because it's been successful for at 36 even for probably 18 years from the time that I left high school until college, law school. The way I approach things has worked. Why question it? Why criticize? Why let other people tell you how you're doing something wrong when it's something that works for you? Because not everything works in the practice of law or in the practice of medicine. I mean, obviously there are rules and guidelines you have to follow, but the way you approach your work is going to be different. That's why we have different doctors in different disciplines, and some people do very well, and some people get sued for malpractice.
Yeah. Well, some people lose their license over crazy stuff, and some people don't lose their license when they should. Oh my
Exactly,
God.
I agree.
Ben, have you met any of those doctors yet? And this is almost like a That Fucking Guy episode of just like, how are they still practicing? There's at least like 3 people dead because of this person. How are they not behind bars, let alone, losing their license?
I've let's just say there's a lot of scandals that I've been privy to hearing, and the ones that always get me are like the medical error ones, sure, but
Sure.
there was this one case where like there were giant stings in the area that I'm living, and they found physicians at these locations soliciting,
Oh God. Yeah, of course. Oh
and they're
jeez.
still in practice.
Yep. Because obviously I've not been called to the medical board. Apparently that process is pretty intimidating. Like, I mean, as you would
Maybe we should
expect
have
it
a
to be.
full episode on this piece because I've got 3 stories on that alone as far as lawyers that are
Ooh,
still in
Okay.
practice.
ooh, how are you not fired? Ah, that's such a good idea.
Well, and it goes to a larger concept of why are you so hard on yourself, Daniel? Why are you so hard on yourself, Ben? Why are you so hard on yourself, PJ? I mean, look at
PJ is not hard on himself at all. Just gonna say that PJ is not hard on himself at all. He is the perfect human.
He's just got a hard on all the time, but that's something different.
yeah,
Rock hard.
walked into that one, Dan.
That's
Um,
fair.
but But
Well,
no, I mean, why do we beat ourselves up when there are people that are so deficient in what they do, walking around still managing to breathe and pay their bills and put a roof over their head? You know what I mean? It's like you're not. It's just that's one thing I wish I'd learned earlier to not beat myself up over mistakes. Accept a
Yeah.
mistake, learn from it, and move on to the next one. That's what I do now. That's what I've done in my 40s, but not in my 20s and 30s. And I spent way too much time feeling depressed or anxious because I put so much pressure on myself. And
so
so,
that's
to your
Yeah.
point,
almost like 100% word for word what mine would be. Like I've been thinking about it for the past couple of days since we were thinking about this. But what you're saying, word for word, is what mine is. Like,
good. I teed it up
You got
for
the
you.
you got the
Fire
floor,
away.
man.
um, and it was just I'm not sure if I can put it in. Yeah, it was like since I've been practicing, and like whether stuff's my fault or not, in the retail setting, we get blamed for it. Hey, why is insulin $1,500? Well, it's your insurance, it's not me, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like, why can't I get my oxy 2 weeks early every month? Well, sorry. But like when you get yelled at, or whatever the case might be, like you take it home with you. And my biggest thing, like the part that took me the longest to learn, wasn't like how to do pharmacy or how to verify things or check interactions. It was dealing with that and not letting it consume you later on. But Yeah, I wish I could just tell my younger self, like, let it go. Like, it's one
Let
customer.
it go.
So,
Let it go.
but,
That's what
yeah.
you would tell yourself.
Yeah, and I just start singing right there in the middle of the pharmacy.
Right. It'd be pretty trippy if you did that and then like Frozen came out the next year. Like you talk to yourself and then they're like, wait a second, is this what I was talking about? Hold on. I still do that. So I'm still trying to figure that out.
Yeah, like how do you guys drown out the buzz?
How do you stop doing that? To teach me.
I can teach you. I can try.
But
Might be
Um,
$10 an hour, like what's your rate going?
Oh God, you can't afford them.
You can't afford me. But I mean, I tell my clients all the time, though. I tell them, I listen to what they say, and then I hear them vent, and then sometimes I actually give them life advice. But the end of that combo, I tell them, here's the thing: I'm a terrible therapist, and I'm way overpriced. So I say that for the purpose of trying to encourage them to go talk to someone that's trained to address some of these things that they're going through. And sometimes clients get offended, and other times, most times, people are appreciative of that advice. Whether they follow through, that's their own choice. But it just goes back to honestly the serenity prayer. The things that I tell myself are not dissimilar to that, which is to say, it's beyond my control. There's nothing I can do about this to help me let it go. If it's something that I could control or I could have done differently, then that's something that you put in your mind is, I learned from this. I made that mistake. I owned it, and I'm moving on to the next one. Because if you beat yourself up over it, you're going to make more mistakes.
Right. Oh, that quicksand theory.
Yeah, and I think that that's a problem. And if I'm in a jury trial and I flub up, if I let that into my head in that moment, I'm not going to get back on track. I'm going to keep making errors as I go through it. So it's kind of like having a very short memory about things. That's all you can do as far as your mistakes. You are human. You're going to make mistakes.
Sounds like you're quarterbacking life right now.
Yeah, no, I mean, it is. It's 100%. It's 100% like that. You just have to talk to yourself. It's got to be your internal monologue that lets you off the hook, as opposed to that depressed, anxious guy that tells you what a horrible person you are and how bad you are and says all those negative things in your head. If you need to, find positive euphemisms. The one that's always worked for me is whatever I believe with feeling will become my reality. That's one of my favorite ones that goes through my head all the time. Because if I believe I'm going to lose, I promise you I will.
Yeah.
I mean, the case might not be in our favor, but I can't focus on that. I have to focus on the best argument I can make and move on to the next one. So, triage or meatball surgery, you do your best and you move on to the next one. It just depends on what type of practice or situation you're in. You can give all the advice to someone who's got a bum knee. If they don't follow through on their end and they blame you, it's not your fault if they didn't
Oh
follow
yeah,
your
those ones
advice.
are easy. Fortunately, I feel like I don't hold those ones over my own head. Those ones are easy because some people can't help themselves, and then there's nothing I can do if they can't help themselves. Well, I was thinking, like, what would I tell myself, 18, 19-year-old Dan? What would I go back and say besides, put money into Bitcoin? I would definitely say stay in the dorms because PJ and Ben, obviously, I wouldn't be nearly as good of friends with you if we hadn't, stayed in Yuma for as long as we did. And then I would say that, like, it goes back to that whole, like, not caring what people think. But, like, I wish I could tell myself specific people. Do you guys have those stories? Do you guys have that? Like, God, this one person I was hung up on for too long. I cared what they thought, and now I don't, and they're dead to me. I wish I had listened to this person, though, because they knew what they were talking about. I don't know if anybody else feels that way, because there are certain people where I can't say that there weren't people in my life that had a negative impact on me that ended up having a positive end result or long-term result.
I have that to an extent. but it's with the caveat. It's like this person was right about this, and I wish I had listened to them, but they were wrong about everything else.
So like bits and pieces.
Yeah. So for me, it's more like picking and choosing.
I've had plenty of coworkers who are attorneys that I should have never paid attention to a word that they said to me, period, at all. That everything they told me was absolutely incorrect for me, because they don't call it the practice of medicine or the practice of law just on account of because it truly is. I mean, practice makes perfect. You can't come out of law school or med school and know everything. And so you do it through trial and error. And when you make those errors and somebody just makes you feel terrible about them, certainly a coworker or a partner in a firm, guess what? Those are not the type of people that you want around you. You want people that are going to help you figure out what you did wrong and how to fix it, or how to make it work the next time, or what treatment modality was more appropriate under those circumstances that you missed. I think that's what I did. Never had a mentor, man. I had 20 years in practice. I had no one that I would consider was a mentor. Were there people I could ask questions from every once in a while? Sure. But no one like what I am being for my associates, or trying to be for my associates. And I'm trying to be the dad to my kids that I didn't have.
Yeah. Well, that's a really impressive thing, though, because I've had tons of mentors. So I've been very lucky on the opposite end of that spectrum, and you've gone crazy far in life, Pat. You've done an incredible amount for not having that go-to person that you can ask questions, that person you can rely on who will vouch for you, or put their things to the side to help you out. Because that's what my mentors have been for me. I have had lots of people create opportunities for me and help me out. So kudos to you for, I don't know, A, being the bigger person, and B, succeeding more or less. I don't think anybody succeeds on their own. Nobody, is successful in a vacuum. I obviously have lots of experience and lots of people that came before us, but like, that's an impressive thing on its own.
Hoover is very successful in a vacuum, but
okay. Okay. I got one actually, because shut up. I've got one. I wish, and this is more of a me thing, I think Ben and Pat will understand, maybe even PJ. I wish I was less competitive. Shut up, Ben.
I wish you were less competitive too.
Shut up. Goddamn, guys, shut up.
Man, this is like going back. Like, I'll let you go, but I got a story about the dorms after that.
Fuck, just do it. Just say it. Go for
it. My first interaction was, I think it was like, it was either there was a game night in the dorms, either like in the recreational area, or I think it was like I was passing by and it was like you, Ramon, some of our other friends who were like doing like a StarCraft like gaming night or something. Like all of you.
Oh, that's right. LAN party night. LAN party night.
Everyone was just like hunched over their like keyboards, like the stereotypical like 90s or 2000s where you got like the boxes of pizza, Mountain Dew.
Oh, dude, we had Code Red Mountain Dew. We had Little Caesars $5 pizza, hot and ready. By the way, I just want to say, sidebar, love Little Caesars in their advertising. Completely honest. They don't say it's good. They say it's $5 hot and ready. And yeah, we played the original StarCraft, and we did that so much.
Well, my first interaction, man, I remember we were playing that, and like I think we were playing Halo and some other game, and you were just getting so livid, like you were sweating up a storm and just getting so damn serious about it. And I was just like, "Who is this guy?"
I promise.
Casey, 100%. We're all like
calm down. Yeah.
No, you. Okay, stop.
Shut up.
I've calmed down. You seriously have not.
I do. Anyways. Yeah, I remember those nights, actually. I would get way too upset about I don't know. I was good at video games, but I would get way too invested. God, and I think that's why Ramon and I got along so well. We played Mortal Kombat 2 in the dorms, in the rec room, for hours. We played so many rounds. You had to play, I think it was like 100 rounds to unlock like the secret character Smoke to appear, and we did that multiple times. And people would just come in and be like, "Hey, what are you guys playing? Mortal Kombat 2. Here, grab a seat, pull up a controller." And me and Ramon would just play back and forth and include anybody and everybody that walked in. But yeah, I wish. I think you're not alone in that first impression was like, because obviously we're friends. You don't think I'm an asshole still, or at least not as bad of one. And so I think there are a lot of people out there where that's their only impression of me.
I mean, I stuck around.
We played Super Smash, man.
Oh,
That's what we
God.
did on the N64 when I was in college. That was Super Smash Brothers and Axis and Allies on the board game. Gotta love me Axis and Allies. That was so much fun. But yeah, I was super competitive. Of course, the first game of Axis and Allies, I 100% won that game with whoever was on my team. And then from there on out, everyone plotted to make sure that Patrick didn't win. It was the same with we played Risk. We played Risk at Bourgade, and I managed to manipulate everyone coming out of Australia and winning the only full Risk game ever played in Bourgade Catholic High School physics class. So there it is.
I was gonna say, does anybody else have any other stories? Because that's my funny one. It's like I wish, and also the sweatiness that
Hasn't changed.
gone. Yeah, I
No,
can't.
not at all.
Kind of on that topic. Has anybody played Age of Empires, or did they back in the day?
Played it before.
I did way back in the day. I think I played.
Yeah,
it when I was a
way
kid.
back. So I found out recently, I believe at ASU, don't quote me on that, you can play Age of Empires and get like 1 or 2 credits of like history, like college credits.
What? No
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. It was on the news. I was like, this is totally not fair.
You can get college credits playing video games?
Yes.
That's wild. Where was that when I was in college? I will say there's one thing I wish if I would tell myself is like there were a lot of times that I played video games with friends and we'd have those like Mortal Kombat nights and we would have those like multi-hour long LAN parties and sessions. I would tell myself, do not feel guilty about this. Obviously, I got my shit together. I did all the work I needed to and got to where I was. That was still a priority. But oh my god, the memories and the fun, I would never change that at all. But in the moment, I felt super guilty because I wasn't studying or wasn't doing homework. No. To anyone listening who's ever in this position, enjoy it, especially if it's with good friends. You are not making memories that are going to last a lifetime reading a book or studying for a test. Half the shit I learned in college is gone. I don't know any of it because it fell out of my brain. But like Ben and I still remember the LAN party nights. We still remember the Mortal Kombat like tournaments we had. Oh, and ping pong.
I was gonna say,
Did you play ping pong in the dorms?
Oh yeah, we had all the ping pong tournaments.
That's right. I don't think I joined on one of them, but yeah. Anyways, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like going off of kind of the game thing, like you were saying, Dan. For me, like I don't know, that was like a huge thing in my life growing up. Like condense kind of the story. No, like gaming was like what I was always into, and I did it pretty competitively. Like all the way growing up in different games, whether it was like shooters like Halo, whether it was like MMOs like Warcraft, anything like that.
Yeah.
And I took those really seriously, but I mean, I still put time into my schooling, of course. I mean, but I think the thing for me was like I was such a sheltered nerd. And what I mean is like I was like a closet nerd that just wouldn't tell certain groups of people why I was up until like 2 a.m. or something like that. Or like what I was doing on that weeknight and why I couldn't go out with people to like a concert or something.
Yeah.
And in the during those like times when I was growing up, like I'm getting better about it. I still have a lot to do, but I do let what people say or think about me influence me quite a bit. Because like my family members, I had friends as well who knew that I played video games, and just at whether it was like family functions, group functions, something, they would like make fun of it. So then like I mean, most of the time growing up, even until like the last few years, I did not tell people that I was like close friends with at times. I didn't tell relationships like what gaming meant to me because of like the impact that that I allowed other individuals to have by hating on playing games, calling individuals that play games like that they don't have time for their life or other things. And like you said, like both of us made time for that aspect and to pursue what we want. And for me, like those are some of the best damn memories that I had. Like I remember when I was in third year doing like 17-hour surgeries, like something crazy when I was doing like working with this ENT and plastics.
God, that's obscene.
I would come back after that, race back home, like the hour and a half drive that I had, to make sure that I got on time for the game that I was playing, to play at like a competitive level.
Cool.
And those are the memories that I remember. Like
Yeah,
interactions with those people, everything.
I would say it's also about finding your community too, because like those people who I first off, this is a huge gripe for me. This is something that really grinds my gears. Fuck anyone who says other people can't enjoy things. If you're that person, shut up and reevaluate your life. Other people can enjoy things. Life is tough enough between the dystopian hell we're living through and the things that like, you know, people find joy in. Who the hell are you to tell them they can't actually enjoy them? You know, granted, those are bullies. They obviously don't care, or they're probably narcissists, and nothing I say is ever going to reach those people. But let people enjoy things. It's like, you know, life is tough. It's hard to find things you find passion in, and if you do, go for it. Because ultimately, and getting back to my original point, yeah, you find community. You find people that you're going to, like, connect with. And that's how I found Ramon, was like, the first day I met him was in the dorms. I think it was like maybe 10 days into the semester. And I was walking towards the rec room because the hallways are built in like those like a U-shaped building with a rec room in the middle. I passed his door and he was playing Ninja Gaiden, the original one. And I was like, oh, dude, is that a Super Nintendo? And Ramon used to be a lot more, I don't know, shy isn't the word. He's always extroverted, but more kind of unsure and more like just kind of
Puttery.
Yeah, well, he's always been puttery. But he's like, oh, you know the Super Nintendo? Oh, come in. Yeah, here, take my seat. Take the controller. Play around. I was like, what? But it's your game. I was just going to watch. He's like, no, you take a turn. I guess anxious might be just the word, but now he's not an anxious person. Anyways, that was how we connected. We played Super Nintendo together. We played all of those games. And that was our connection. That was our community. And that's how we had and made friends. So to people who have hobbies that are, I don't know, nerdy or looked down on for whatever reason, they're not. They're your hobbies. They're your passions. And fuck anybody who says you can't enjoy the things you want to enjoy.
I don't care if you collect stamps or coins or, you know, I play chess these days for relaxation. I used to play Fortnite for probably 3 years straight. I played Dark Age of Camelot, which was an MMO.
Oh, that's right, Dayak. I forgot about that. It's like
I used to make money playing that game. Actually,
the MMORPG before WoW.
Yeah. You know, and I played Diablo 2 when Diablo 2 first came out back in it would have been 2000.
Were you there, Ben? We did a LAN party where Ramon, I think it was Steven and you, but it might have been Alberto, where we did a LAN party where we beat Diablo 2.
There weren't enough bits in that game for me.
Not enough bits. That was Ramon's whole thing. He's grown up now. He used to say too many bits if it was anything more than 16-bit games.
That's funny. Who cares? I mean, I own it. I wear it like a badge, and in fact, I've shared it with some of my juvenile clients to my benefit. Like, so how many wins do you? How many battle royale first places do you think I have? And I tell them that I've got 2,000 plus, and they look at me like I'm an alien. I was this old man got so many wins, and I said, well, it's outsmarting 12-year-olds, so it's not that hard. So,
that's great.
No, I'm the oldest self-proclaimed Fortnite semi-pro player. That was my moniker for a while. You know,
yeah,
lawyer by day, Fortnite pro by night.
I've connected with patience over the fact that I like and watch anime, and like I think back to when anime was looked down on, when video games, like if you were a gamer, you were bullied and people were like, oh, you don't have a life, you waste your time, like you were saying, Ben. Now look at today's culture, like with Discord and streaming sites like Twitch. There are people who would never have picked up a controller if it didn't mean that they could stream and make millions of dollars doing it. So like that culture is completely flipped on its head. And I think things like that are always going to go and be circular in and out of fashion. So now, like, yeah, it's cool to play video games and people make millions of dollars doing it. Don't let other people's opinions influence you when it comes to things you enjoy. I think that's really the takeaway. And got a lot of themes this episode. I like this. PJ, anything else you gotta add?
Dude, I was just thinking about. So when you were talking about Ramon, I was thinking about Duck Hunt. Remember Duck Hunt?
Oh my god, yes, of course. The original.
Dude, that was amazing. And I was like, dude, that's a thing? You kept it? He's like, yeah, I also have a tube TV so we can play it because it doesn't work on the new one. So I was like, you're that into it? That's awesome.
A tube TV, that's right. Those things that weigh 600 pounds somehow, just like taking up 2 feet.
And he had it just for Duck Hunt. Anyway, it was amazing.
I forgot that. I forgot we used to play that. We played Duck Hunt in the dorms together, and you had to play it on those particular TVs because it doesn't work on the new ones on like plasma or smart TVs.
And then the other part I was like kind of reminiscing about was hanging out in Jeremy's room playing Call of Duty when you were getting really competitive and sweaty.
Yeah, that's true. But you have to remember, I was damn good at it. I almost played competitive games. I almost got into it. I remember, Patrick will remember this too. When we got Call of Duty Modern Warfare, I think this was Call of Duty 4, when the original Modern Warfare came out, you, Pat, Sean, and my dad, I think at one point, the three of you played against me, and I destroyed all of you.
Oh, yeah, all of us. We get, dead.
Sean, was ready to throw the controller, and he's like, I'm just going to enter you in a tournament, bet the house on you, and make a fortune.
Yeah, you should have done that for sure. I played Madden competitively. When Madden tournaments first became a thing, that would have been back in the early 2000s. So they held one of the regional tournaments in San Diego, and I made it to the semis of that tournament, but it was the only one I competed in. And then I played Left 4 Dead competitively.
Oh, that's right.
You remember that? Yeah, I used to practice playing that game. Yeah. So I had like two different teams, or like we had about a rotation of about 12 to 16 people that we would play with, and I usually got picked as like a first alternate on like these teams to be there as a sub, and inevitably somebody wouldn't be there, and we won some money in a couple tournaments. Not anything big, like $30. I mean, what did he do? But
hey,
it was fun. But I was trying to practice law and raise a family, so it didn't work out for too long. My competitive gaming career in Left 4 Dead didn't last too terribly long. So
I always regretted the only thing I thought back in college when YouTube was like getting big, or bigger, I should say, and like video game streaming and Let's Plays were just taking off. Ramon once said that he was like, man, I think I kind of want to do this. And Ramon was like, the market's already saturated. Now it's saturated. Back then, I wish I had done that. If I could tell myself, if I had a goal or something I want to pursue, I should just do it. Because now I know that. Now I know if there's something I love and I enjoy and I want to take a chance and have the time to do it, who cares what other people think? Just do it. That's why I made this podcast. Nicole said, wow, you've been listening to a lot of podcasts. Would you ever do one? I was like, yeah, but I don't know. And she got me the mic and she got me the soundproofing, and it was like, all right, fuck it. Let's do it. Let's make something. Because then I can at least look back and say, you know what? I made something. I'm proud of it. Doesn't matter if I make money. Doesn't matter if I get famous. I don't care about those things. That's not why I'm doing this. I was just doing it because I love to have the time to, shoot the shit with you guys and have fun and hang out and talk about stuff. More than anything, just tell funny stories and recollect like this. God, thinking back, I forgot about Duck Hunt. I don't know how, because obviously I grew up playing that, and playing it with you and Ramon was a blast.
And then we spent a lot of time playing Gears as well. Remember, you used to try to go through like 50 waves?
Oh, that's right. The Gears of War 2 with the wave system.
Yeah, the Gears of War 2. You got me playing that too.
Yeah.
That was insane.
I like how this episode started kind of serious. With us like, oh god, I'd stopped being so hard on myself and stop, taking life too seriously. And then just all of us recollecting all our video game days. I mean, now I'm still playing video games. I'm playing Elden Ring on my 4th playthrough, so I can't really talk.
I was playing the first 20 minutes while we were doing this. Just full disclosure.
PJ, I always think you're
Okay.
quiet just because you're quiet. Turns out you're just playing video games.
That's okay. I've done this podcast while I'm playing competitive Madden games, like head to heads, like where I'm in the middle of it. It's like you guys are talking, all right. They'll come to me when they need me, or if it's a topic comes up, I'll talk and play at the same time. But yeah,
Ben, did you? I think we're getting close to time. Did you have anything else you wanted to add, or anything you had tidbits?
I think like going back to like a more serious undertone, I think tailoring expectations was like a huge thing that I don't think was like pressed upon me early enough. And what I just mean is like anyone that was like going to grad schools, I felt like I always like saw this picture of like people getting exactly what they want, whether it means getting into grad school on their first try, whether it means getting into the program that they want, whether it means getting the promotion or the recognition that they wanted at their work. And I think maybe it was a little selfish of myself, but thinking, oh, the same thing's going to happen to me. I'm checking all the boxes, I'm doing all the things. The same thing's going to happen to me. I mean, I didn't have that experience, and I'm grateful for it now. It definitely has taken a little bit longer than maybe what I would have wanted, but I did a master's program, did med school, took a leave of absence, came back, started residency. But yeah, there's just like this. I felt like there was always this portrayal of people getting exactly what they want, and that's not always life. But I think at different times I was probably very depressed about it, anxious as well, thinking like I'm not going to get to where I want to be. But that's where like utilizing or leaning on like things that gave me happiness, that gave me life experiences in the interim period, like playing video games, a strong support system, not like being able to drown out the buzz from the backfeed of people saying you're not going to be able to do it. I think those were like really important things, and I think that's something that I would go back and tell myself is it's okay to tailor your expectations, understand that you might not get everything you want, or you might not get it right now, and that's fine.
Yeah, that's such a good insight because I think that harkens back to the idea of like we're not all running the same race. If you want something, go after it because you can still get there. Life can happen and set you back, but obviously you had a leave of absence, but came back and are now look at you now. You're Dr. Ben, and you are practicing and learning medicine. So I had a similar sort of situation when it came to applying to college. I knew in my heart of hearts I was going to go to Harvard or Cornell and play football, and then I hurt my knee. And then I was like, okay, well, I'll still go to an Ivy League and get a good education. I think I got rejected by Harvard, despite checking all the boxes, and had amazing test scores. And then I got waitlisted at Cornell, and it was just like, well, hold on, that's not the plan. That's not how this is supposed to go down. But then I stayed in state and went to college and made money off my scholarships and got an amazing education because I think one thing I would tell myself back in is like, it doesn't matter where you go, it's how you finish. As much as you put into it, you're going to graduate with a degree or, you're going to get to the same spot. So stop stressing about the details. That's what I would have told myself. Because, yeah, I went to U of A. I got a degree. I went to med school. I'm here now doing exactly what I knew I wanted to do. So, yeah, man, I'm glad you bounced back. I'm glad you're doing a lot better. That being said, I think this is close to time. Anybody else got anything else they wanted to add?
On that point, I think everybody goes through that. I think we all have this ideal of what we're going to end up doing, and not that you should settle for anything, but rather sometimes you end up doing the opposite of what you intend, and still end up being happy. So, I know I am.
Yeah, and you don't always need to get to where you need to go or where you want to go. Sometimes you can just be happy with where you're at and what you have.
Well, you tell me if I'm wrong, Dan, but I mean, our dad pushed us to be the best of the best, sir, with honors. And at some point, I finally realized I'm never going to, realize that expectation at all. And I should just try to be the best that I can be and try to improve myself.
I completely agree. I think in a way, I mean, I try to find silver linings where I can. When our dad passed, the silver lining was I started living for myself and not approval. And not just his approval, but like everyone's approval. Like I learned I could just be happy in myself and be happy with what I'm accomplishing. So when you let other people set expectations for you and that's the only thing you get to live up to, that's all you'll ever, I doubt you'd ever get to it because those expectations would just keep mounting. But if you live for yourself and you live for your own expectations and what you want, I think people find they can be very happy with whatever they have and honestly just build on that. So, yeah, a little more serious than I wanted. But I think this is time to call. PJ, did you have anything you wanted to add?
So just to kind of add it all up and put it all together, I think we all regret not playing more video games. Or maybe it's just me.
No doubt.
No
100%.
Absolutely.
Worldiest story right there.
Yeah, listen, if you don't play video games, you're missing out. Just go play video games because that's what we're about to go all do as soon as we tap out from this podcast. Thank you guys for being here with me and doing this with me. This is a ton of fun. I'm going to let the listeners know next week is going to be our last episode for season 1. We're going to wrap up at 10 and take a short hiatus, and then we'll be back after a couple months or a month. We're going to see what it times out to be. I'm getting busy with like sports physicals and all of the sporting events between covering marathons and mass sporting events. Football season's around the corner, so I'm going to need some extra time to do some editing and recording, so we'll space it out and come back. But next week will be our last episode for season 1.